Good morning, everyone. You know, good morning. There's the old saying, into every life a little rain must fall. But I want you to notice we got it out of the way early. You're all smooth sailing from here on out. So, I am Linda Davis Taylor, Chair of the Board of Trustees for the college. On behalf of all the members of the board, I welcome you all to the 81st Annual Commencement Exercise. To the class of 2011, today marks a milestone for you. It is the culmination of years of hard work and represents successful accomplishments in your life. I congratulate you on your perseverance in conquering so many challenges, completing senior thesis, and reaching and even surpassing so many other goals you've set for yourselves. Speaking of goals, I really cannot resist taking this opportunity to thank and congratulate the class of 2011 for one of its most recent accomplishments in reaching 100% participation in the annual senior class gift competition. This, of course, is a remarkable tribute to your great spirit of commitment to the Scripps students who follow you by raising scholarship funds and honoring also the philanthropic legacy of so many Scripps alumni, parents, and friends who have come before you. Thank you so much. Today you take the very significant, if a bit uncertain step of moving from being a student of the college to an alumna, joining thousands of others who are eager to welcome you into the broader Scripps community. Scripps is an inspiring place that cultivates confidence and high aspirations in its students. So we know that with your degree in hand, you are prepared to move on to the next phase of your life and ready to make your mark on the world. We know that what you have learned at the college will transcend the actual years you've spent here, and then in time, you will play important roles in the world, each in your own unique and personal way. I would also like to extend a special welcome to the parents, families, and friends of today's graduates. I really doubt that any board chair for the college has looked forward to this special privilege of signing the diplomas of your graduates as much as I have this year. You see, you and I have a lot in common, as my daughter Della is a member of the class of 2011. So my husband Jim and I personally share the excitement and pride of all of the families, and we know what an important occasion this is for you. Recalling lyrics from a song Della and I shared through the years, in our daughter's eyes, we can see the future, a reflection of who we are and what will be. So please, savor the moment and enjoy the ceremony. We certainly will. Now it is my pleasure to introduce and welcome to the podium our Scripps College President, Dr. Lori Bettison Varga.
Good morning. And I have to tell you, all morning we've been watching the weather like all of you, but I knew that the class of 2011 wanted to walk out and down this lawn, right? Yes. So I joined Linda Davis Taylor in welcoming all of you to today's commencement exercise. And I also want to particularly acknowledge the many family members and friends who are here to celebrate with all of us the class of 2011. While these graduates certainly forged their pathway to this day, they could not have done so without your support. So on behalf of the college, I thank you. As we celebrate our students' accomplishments, I want to draw your attention to the list of student theses in our commencement program. I think you will agree with me that this is an amazingly wide range of topics, and it's very impressive. We celebrated Capstone Day on May 4th, an event at which the entire campus community was invited to hear presentations and performances by many of our students. Before I introduce our first speaker, I want to take this time to recognize the role of the Scripps College faculty. They provide the highest level of teaching, advising, and support to our students, and their dedication and commitment are instrumental to our students' success. I would like to ask the faculty to stand so that we can thank them. also want to recognize our dedicated staff. They play an essential role in the life of the college and our success in creating a welcoming campus community in which our students thrive. And many of them were out there in the wee hours today getting everything set up and ready for this exercise. So let's give them a round of applause as well. And lastly, I want to acknowledge the Board of Trustees, whose continued giving of time, energy, and resources allows our college to excel and to provide the very best educational experience for our students. We are pleased to have so many members of the board with us here today, so if I can ask them to stand, we can give them a round of applause as well. And the sun. Woo, let's give that. Okay. It is now my pleasure to introduce the senior class speaker. The class of 2011 has chosen Joss Green as its speaker today. Joss is from Andover, Massachusetts, and graduates today summa cum laude, and with honors in 2 majors, Gender and Women's Studies and History. On Friday, Joss was one of 24 graduating seniors initiated in the college's Theta chapter of Phi Beta Kappa, the nation's oldest and widely known honor society that recognizes outstanding academic achievement of students at leading colleges and universities. We have all been impressed with Joss's incredible energy and remarkable intellect. Balancing the rigors of academic studies while being a very active contributor to student government, Joss served this year as Vice President of the Scripps Associated Students, organizing and facilitating monthly student forums on key issues on campus. In addition, Joss was a resident advisor with responsibility for 78 students and providing social and educational events to help develop community and promote personal growth. Within the Claremont College's consortium, Joss served as the head mentor of the Queer, Questioning, and Allied Mentor Program and founded Gender Revolution, a student-run organization that provided opportunities for students to discuss gender identity issues, sponsor activities, and promote policy changes that would foster greater inclusivity at the colleges. Deeply committed to serving the greater community, Joss has worked as a social services intern at the Boston Living Center, helping to provide health information and support to those with HIV. And he also interned at Youth on Fire, a social service organization in Cambridge, Massachusetts, which provides support for homeless youth aged 14 to 21. In addition to all of this, I understand that Joss is a remarkable dancer, sings in an a cappella group, is an active member of a sign language club, and a skilled cafe barista. Joss is one remarkable person. I ask you to please join me in welcoming Joss to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. How are you all doing? Little soggy. It is my great honor to speak to you today, and the title of my address is Building Nests in Windy Places. There are few more fruitless tasks than trying to convince sleepy, hungry, bored children to process obediently through a silent space. I contemplated this futility a month ago at the Huntington Gardens, watching a parade of haggard parents clinging to their wriggling, wailing children. The kids would have been equally content to eat goldfish, run around the parking lot, and then nap in the back seat. But the parents knew that getting your money's worth meant seeing all of the gardens. So who gets to say what is a worthwhile use of your time? As graduates, we are being called upon to structure our future and create lives of value. And I think a lot of us are terrified because we're worried that our decisions will lead to lives that aren't valuable enough, or that our friends will have futures more valuable than ours. The funny thing is, a lot of us came to Scripps because it doesn't promote a cutthroat, best of the best fight to the top environment. Scripps taught me to challenge hierarchies of value rather than buy into them, taught me to think of success as a collective movement rather than individual accomplishment, and taught me to connect and collaborate with fellow students rather than try to assert superiority over them. I know you're supposed to graduate college waving a flag of independence, but I'm graduating increasingly aware of how dependent we all are on each other. I see this dependence not as a weakness, but as a call for greater accountability towards each other. We have not been trained to be 212 elite academic prize fighters chomping at the bit to spring into action and fight to the top of the pig pile. We've been taught to challenge the idea that there is one definition of success or one kind of successful person, and to affirm each other in making the hard decisions of what our own different paths will look like. It's terrifying to feel responsible for our future, so I've spent a lot of time reaching for external standards of success to guide my path. I've read US News and World Report grad school rankings, compulsively filled out online career path quizzes, set up numerous meetings with the kind and indulgent CP&R staff, and, right, haven't we all? Feeling like there was some secret path to success that I might miss, I followed my liberal arts research skills and tried to accumulate as much information as possible to reason my way to a conclusion about what to do next. And what I never did was tune into my own body. I am a dancer, so I'm a big believer in body knowledge. We tend to poo-poo the physical body, suggesting that hardworking, successful people can ignore their physical needs and tough it out. To dance well, you can't be too tired or hungry or stressed, so you get used to recognizing physical discomfort in order to make changes that will help you perform better. Funny how, even if our papers are better when we're not exhausted, the college culture tells us that sleep is a luxury and we get used to ignoring tiredness. We ignore our bodies instead of seeing them as vital sources of knowledge. Maybe when we think about certain career paths, law school, med school, some prestigious job or internship, and feel overwhelmed and terrified by them, that's our body saying that's not the path for us. We can try to talk ourselves into a lot of things, reasoning that it'll be good for us, that it's the best long-term decision, but if you're doing something you dislike, you probably won't be great at it. And if you hate where a path is starting, I'm not optimistic it's going to end somewhere you love. Either way, we infrequently stop to ask why we're exerting ourselves and whether it's worth it. What if the tired families in the Huntington Gardens had stopped 30 minutes in when the kids started to deteriorate and asked themselves whether they wanted to keep going? They might have decided yes. Regardless of the exhaustion, a full trip required they see everything. Or they might have decided no. The afternoon would be more stressful than fun in the gardens, so they'd rather go buy fudgesicles and watch Dora the Explorer in the hotel room. I don't think there's a right answer, but I'm concerned that we rarely acknowledge that there are options. I've noticed that we tend to seek out challenges all the time, as if it's always a good thing to push yourself. We think that hardworking, productive, talented people are incessantly taking on new challenges. To be provided an opportunity and gratefully decline is not a concept familiar to most of us. If there's a challenge, we take it on, confidently, courageously, and hopefully. And some challenges help us grow, but not all. When we think that only the most difficult things are worthwhile, we don't honor our passions or recognize that our love and energy are limited and vital resources worthy of being allocated thoughtfully. Audre Lorde's poem, Portrait, has guided me through several big decisions, and whenever I read it, one line stands out. I must always be building nests in a windy place. I used to read that as a call to courageously leap into situations where you will not always feel safe or protected. Now I wonder. This semester, I could have taken a full schedule of lab science classes. I have taken only one lab science in my time here and get excited when I remember things from high school science like the word electron. So, that would have been challenging for me. I could have gotten through them, I'm sure, probably even gotten decent grades, but it would have required a massive investment of time. Instead, I chose a schedule of exciting classes in areas I love, with enough room for me to invest my energy in other parts of my life that are equally valuable, my friends, my dorm, my physical well-being. I don't see that as a slacker decision or as an easy way out. I see that as an intentional use of my body. Rather than finding happiness in an ongoing series of adrenaline rushes from fighting the wind in any form, I think I'm starting to know myself and getting better at building my nest. Building a sustainable, happy life in my own eyes. I wonder whether striving to become the best prevents us from taking a hard look at ourselves and figuring out who we are. Throwing ourselves into hardship so we can come out the other end with a certificate of passage can be exhilarating, but we risk deriving our self-worth from our ability to survive. I've stayed in some pretty awful jobs, fearing that quitting meant I lacked courage or willpower. But when we're run down and struggling to keep head above water, it's hard to be a positive force in the lives of people around you. I could have seen quitting, not as a cop-out, but as a commitment to finding new work that I could do more fully and that would leave me with energy to invest in those around me. People speak of life after graduation as if there's a right decision. Oftentimes, we look to college board rankings or social prestige to determine what that means, but act as if it doesn't matter whether something is right for us. We think there are good paths, and anyone can follow them if they work hard enough. But there is so much untapped potential for engaged, creative lives lying dormant in us when we act as though we are all the same and must all lead the same kind of life. If we can find the courage to define happiness according to our own comfort and intuition, we may stop competing for the sake of it and instead find ways of complementing and supporting each other. We may then define success not according to our individual superiority, but as collective participation in a world where we can all be our fullest selves. Not fighting the wind to prove our own strength, but building nests in community. Thank you.
Thank you, Joss. I think those are fine words, not just for the class of 2011, but for all of us. We appreciate hearing what you had to say. Thank you. It is with great pride and pleasure that I introduce an alumna of the college as this morning's commencement speaker. While we have been fortunate to have many alumni return to their alma mater to address the graduating class, it is rare that we have had the honor of having in our midst a true genius. It is a delight to introduce to you noted sculptor and winner of the prestigious MacArthur Fellowship for 2010, our alumna, Elizabeth Robbins Turk. A native of Pasadena, California, Elizabeth entered Scripps in the fall of 1979. After receiving her Bachelor of Arts in International Relations from Scripps College in 1983, Elizabeth pursued a Master's in Fine Arts from Reinhardt School of Sculpture at the Maryland Institute in Baltimore. As an artist, Elizabeth is best known for creating a series of 16 exquisitely carved marble sculptures, the Callers. Her past artistic projects have involved works in metal, glass, and porcelain, as well as drawings, photography, and video. Her work has appeared in numerous solo and group exhibits at such venues as the Mint Museum of Art in North Carolina, the University of Virginia Art Museum, the American Institute of Architecture in New York, and the National Museum of Women in the Arts in Washington, D.C. In 2003, she exhibited a selection of her work at the Ruth Chandler Williamson Gallery on our campus. Elizabeth has received several awards and recognitions, including the New York City Art Commission Award for Excellence in Design, the 2010 Barnett and Annalee Newman Foundation Fellowship, and in 2001, the L'Oreal Art and Science Prize for her collaboration with Kirara Kawachi in Japan. As I mentioned at the beginning of this introduction, Elizabeth was one of the 22 Americans to receive the MacArthur Fellowship in 2010. The fellowship is often referred to as the Genius Award and is given by the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation to exceptionally creative individuals. It is a no-strings-attached grant, which in their words is provided to offer unprecedented freedom and opportunity to reflect, create, and explore. We look forward with great anticipation to the work her next years of reflection, creation, and exploration will inspire. For now, it is my sincere pleasure to welcome Elizabeth to the podium to address the senior class with her talk, What is True in Permanent Change? Elizabeth.
Good morning. First of all, to you all, congratulations. And thank you for your invitation to be here today. It is truly an honor to share today and this celebration. Yes, congratulations to all of you, family, friends, faculty, trustees, and above all, you graduates, this class of 2011. You did it. To be here, a graduate of Scripps, is not an accident for any of us, but the result of the dedication of many. For me, like most of you, the story is generational. My grandmother was adamant my father, a local Ontario boy, would attend college. Driving through these campuses at every opportunity, she dragged him to events at Little Bridges, Big Bridges, art exhibits at Padua Hills. In fact, I'm sure all her shopping routes ran through the different streets of these schools. And her strategy worked. My dad was the first in his family to achieve degrees here at Pomona, and later at Stanford. I know many of you have parallel stories about the love of learning, the respect for education, and the devotion of those who love you and work hard to make it all happen. Obviously, there was no doubt that attaining a degree from Scripps was in my future. But to be standing here, delivering a commencement address because of artistic merit, no way. This was a path no one, and I mean no one, would have imagined or even dreamed could be a possibility. First of all, I was an IR major, International Relations. I took one sculpture class. It was with Professor Casanova, and I had both my legs in casts. Imagine a sculptor who could not stand up. Second, I hardly spoke in class. I should say I never spoke in class. In fact, I was so quiet that I'm sure when it was learned that Elizabeth Robbins was awarded a MacArthur Fellowship, the faculty here scratched their heads and wondered if I had truly been their student. Yes, I was that quiet. But here I am speaking. So perhaps obstacles can be a sort of muse. Yet, I wish this robe were the skin of Ellen DeGeneres, and suddenly I could irreverently deliver honesty on the wind of your laughter. Because at this moment of your success, paradoxically, I'm going to speak of failure and obstacles. And at this moment, when you have followed a straight path, you know, the one that you started in preschool, most of you, this path, which has delivered the success it proclaimed, I'm going to tell a story of a path that was anything but straight. That's it, a short speech and a little bit about art. I left Scripps armed with enthusiasm, energy, and the conviction that building a career was my next step. I struck out fresh, never returning to connections built with internships. Why I did not is still a mystery. Perhaps it was the same reason Marissa Finn so beautifully articulated in her Scripps Bulletin essay. The source of inspiration had grown. I boldly applied for training programs, yet when it came to making money and actually having a job, I was failing, just as I do speaking from time to time. This period was a nightmare. Self-confidence drained away, and all recent feeling of accomplishment seemed a farce. I jumped ship on what I envisioned was a career path and simply got a job. In this period, the do anything, make money period, I failed utterly in building the resume I had expected. And yet I began to construct a stronger background. I discovered I had tremendous resilience, a growing empathy for the misfortune of others, and a greater respect for the structure upon which lives grow. In this period, I began to challenge my weaknesses. The woman who could not talk made cold calls for State Farm during the dinner hour. Yes, one of those annoying voices invading your home. That was me. I left when I got to M, and I could pick up the phone and actually say hello and have somebody not hang up. The person who was adamant about a career was building sandwiches at 5 a.m. for an office caterer. And the person who wanted desperately to become an ambassador took any job in domestic politics. Eventually, I found myself in Dallas, working on the Republican Platform Committee. But there, I had a defining moment. As I left the convention, my heart was dreaming of regaining a control I had voluntarily relinquished. I sought freedom. I wanted to control daily life, indulge ideas, and enjoy life's moments instead of waiting for one day far away in the future. That sounds so lofty. And while it's all true, what really happened was that when I had the gumption to leave a job I didn't like, I happened to be in Dallas. On the flight home to California, there was a bomb scare. When the flight attendants finished with all the emergency procedures, they ran out of things to say. So, for about 20 minutes, I crouched in my emergency position, thinking about, yes, all the stuff you always hear when people are in those kinds of moments. I'm sure my thoughts were not very original, but they were very motivational. And obviously, that was not to be my end. So, when I arrived home, I had decided. And of course, my family said, yes, an artist? Finally. So you see, I have the opposite artist story. I wanted a career. My family hoped I would do something creative. So I found my passion in art because I no longer cared about a career path. And shouldering what I perceived was failure gave me the fortitude to pursue what was impossible to describe to others. I enjoy making things, enjoy the solitude of reflection, reading, pursuing life with curiosity and wonder, but these things have always been the world of my refuge. Not once in school did I think of these things as a career path or job options. Perhaps I took them as givens. But I also shied from indulging what I enjoyed because of fear, a fear mistaken by reason. I call these rational fears, and there are many. That is self-exposure, competence, and what about the big one, earning a living? Becoming an artist was motivated, though, by the greatest of all fears, that fear of not trying, not knowing ever what was the limit of my imagination, however intangible the pursuit. This period I call take a gulp, figure it out, and above all, persevere. In the world's spare of heroes, one of mine, Nelson Mandela, speaks eloquently to the subject of fear. And I'm sure you have all heard these words before, but they're worth repeating. He says, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who feels afraid, but he who conquers that fear. They're beautiful sentences, aren't they? So the woman who had finally made it to DC was now welding in a studio in the shadow of Capitol Hill. The woman who left the rich environment of Scripps art educators was now scraping together funds to hire models and crashing art courses. So following a passion brought longer hours, but I guess that's how it works. In this period, I loved the moments of my days, the details, and found a paradigm shift. Obstacles became invigorating challenges. They tested my abilities, and as a result, life grew deeply. This was a time when people brought surprising rewards. When looking for a job in DC, I moved in with Claire and Richard Bridge. Yes, the same Claire who is in your president's office. Imagine that. The only connection we had was Scripps, this school. We did not know each other. This was not an intended living situation, simply their generosity. At the time, they gave to me sculpting wax. As a result, for years, my fridge was packed with modeled body parts. In fact, more body parts than food, usually. All those years while working in DC, I continued to use that sculpting wax. So this was the start, quite unexpectedly. Later, when looking for a Master's of Fine Art, I interviewed with a woman who positioned herself in a regal chair high above me. What an interviewing technique for an educator, right? She told me I was not ready for a graduate degree in art. In fact, she told me I would never be ready for a graduate degree in art. She was from Maryland Institute. I decided that was where I would receive a graduate degree in art. And the one sculpture class from Scripps would get me in. So thank you, Professor Casanova. It did. It just took a while. So it's simple. Enjoy the details of whatever you choose and revel in the unexpected friendships, and don't ever give up. No one can take away what you have just achieved, your education. And no one can take away your dreams without your consent. Yet you will have to make room for yourself. The world is very, very full. In the words of Isaac Stern, you will have to walk out onto the stage and say, "Stop, listen, this is important." Because your perspective is significant. The arts and humanities are important. They build the context into which we place facts, the events of our lives. They help us interpret nuance and negate fear. In this, we must be vigilant and encourage thoughtful interpretation. For when a public dialogue is reduced to ranting, there is little space for the complexity of life to be acknowledged. As Gabby Giffords challenged this community 2 years ago, and I repeat, the safety of the world, in some sense, depends on your saying no to inhumane ideas. A supreme value of education is the understanding that the group consensus is not always right. In fact, that it can be totally wrong and must be subject to thoughtful challenge and questioning. It is my hope for this graduating class that you will be among those self-assured enough to make personal sacrifices for what is right. An amazing challenge, isn't it? Strong, courageous words representing ideas for which she has made a most significant of personal sacrifices. Hers are among the footsteps you follow. In this dialogue of the humanities, the artist contributes magical alphabet. Art is not historically, geographically, or culturally specific. It reminds us of what we have in common, even when highlighting individuality. And when successful, even a fragment can be powerful. Everyone feels the iconic mystery of Egyptian sculpture. There is a pair of yellow jasper lips at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City, probably carved by a slave with whom I would have so little in common. Yet those Egyptian lips, only a piece of what once was, I love. They are gorgeous. In fact, I use them as a measure of success. Intellectual understanding comes second for me. Simply said, the fragment inspires me. I recognize excellence and the direct mark of an ancient hand. There's something human. I don't want to describe with words because words would just reduce the experience. In art, comprehension is not simply a mental exercise. It is also an emotional experience that is important because artists can speak to the truthful coexistence of opposing views. That is, they can share many sides of one truth simultaneously. In my work, I turn aggression into patience, the weight of stone into the lightness of being. And when I look at marble, I see what is not there. When I carve, it is the empty space which defines everything. This is why my sister says, I turn nothing into something. In context, there is another level for paradox. I love the title the artists of this graduating class chose, temporary ground. A word combination that simply resonates. Beautiful. Recognizing today's rapidly changing environments and negotiating a personal path with change and flexibility is not negative. It's not flip-flopping, but instead an honest assessment of contemporary life. Because in 1988, when most of you were born, the Human Genome Project was just getting underway. The US was quietly aiding Saddam Hussein as the Iran-Iraq war wound down. And most astonishingly, we were celebrating with Osama bin Laden the demise of Soviet troops in Afghanistan. So if it's not flexible, how can a life be truthful when perspectives change this swiftly? As you graduate today, you are already on your way. Preparing this speech, I got to know you, or I wanted to get to know you, so I spoke with professors and students. And this is what I heard. You're good students who enjoy the opportunity to philosophize deeply. You already know how to collaborate, as you can tell by the speech. You seek responsibility and hope to solve problems. I love this one. You search for a life with meaning greater than yourselves. And let me add, you are impressive. Now it's up to you to edit future events appropriately, frame pertinent questions, and construct authentic lives. And don't forget, it's the process of navigating life, relying not only on rational thought and this education, but honing gut instincts, which leads to an incredible journey. Yes, visualize where you want to go. In fact, visualize many places, but never be afraid to follow the seemingly foolish thought and change direction. Shouldering the wrong idea may bring unseen richness, and this might even give you the space to recognize an opportunity and the chance to accept a dream too big to have been dreamt. And that's what we all wish for you, magnanimous dreams and expansive friendships. As my dad loved to say, live life awake. So congratulations, 2011.
Elizabeth, thank you so very much for sharing so much of your adventures and your path, even as it began those years ago right here. Thank you so much. And now on with the show. The class of 2011 will be presented by Vice President and Dean of Faculty, Amy Marcus Newhall. The degrees will be conferred by President Lori Bettison Varga with the assistance of Interim Dean of Students, Becky Lee.
The class of 2011 will please rise. President Bettison Varga, I have the honor of presenting 212 candidates who have been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees for the degree of Bachelor of Arts.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Scripps College, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree Bachelor of Arts.
As I call your name, please come on stage to receive your diploma. Laura Ethel Abbott. Devin Killian Petty Adair. Ashley Africa, cum laude. L. Zoe Almeida, magna cum laude. Isabel Bentley Anderson, cum laude. Carly Shalone Anderson. Kendra Leigh Atlework, magna cum laude. Hannah Badane, cum laude. Cameron Keast Baker. Alexa Ann Bartlett, cum laude. Victoria Shayna Barton. Andriana Nicole Betts. Sylvie Adina Bishop, summa cum laude. Elizabeth Ashley BC. Nora Rose Bright, cum laude. Alexandra Brown. Alice Christine Brown. Lily Brown. Margaret Ann Bierman. Catherine Serafina Burhena. Jessica Erin Burris, summa cum laude. Bailey Anderson Bush. Suzanne Elizabeth Calkins, magna cum laude. Catherine J. Campbell Morrison, cum laude. Elisa Katrina Chavez. Catherine Sumiko Chong, cum laude. Christina Yoshiko Chong. Mei Yen Chow. Alexandra Teresa Chimalia. Melissa Renee Davis Kober, magna cum laude. Erin Elizabeth Coleman. Lindsay Nicole Cook, magna cum laude. J. Brooks Cullen. Kalida Marie Danko, cum laude. Rebecca Lynn DeRuger, magna cum laude. Nixenia DeHaro. Guadalupe de la Cruz. Anna Maria Derby. Madeline Ann DeShazo. Emily Celeste Dio. Emma Frances Dinkelspiel, cum laude. Grace Shannon Ditzworth, magna cum laude. Emily Dixon, doctor. Amanda Fairbanks Doherty. Ashley M. Duncan. Caitlin Diane Duncan, cum laude. Rebecca Kate Dunn. Alexandra Eris Eason, magna cum laude. Rachel Elizabeth Ellison. Pia Patricia Faxon, cum laude. Anna Elizabeth Fiastro, cum laude. Marissa Griffiths Finn. Elena M. Fisher, magna cum laude. Stephanie Marie Fleischer. Zoe Elizabeth Folger. Rebecca Elizabeth Frank. Lauren Marie Frederick. Emily Joan Freeman, in absentia. Annie Lynn Freitas, cum laude. Shayna Nicole Friedman, cum laude. Alexandra Jordan Freisinger, cum laude. Idalia Helena Micaela Gabriello, cum laude. Cassandra Deschen Gam, cum laude. Sarah Jane Garrett. Catherine Emily Gilbert, cum laude. Maureen Shulamit Golan. Montana Jillian Grayboys, cum laude. Abigail Sharif Granberry. Joss Taylor Green, summa cum laude. Riley Elizabeth Grime, magna cum laude. Natalie DeRossville Grover. Jessica Rose Grummer Strawn, cum laude. Natalie Rebecca Gutzler. Caroline Murray Haynes. Jessica Cook Halleck. Elena Danielle Hernandez. Luisana Hernandez. Amy Barbara Hillman, cum laude. Eugenie Sukyong Hong, cum laude. Laura Catherine Hoverson, cum laude. Dagny Catherine Adam Howard, cum laude. Alexandra Tate Shu. Tina Annette Shu, cum laude. Helen Huang, cum laude. Catherine Kelly Hunt, magna cum laude. Kristen Mayin Chu Irian. Dana Adele Jensen, cum laude. Julia Gabrielle Johns, cum laude. Frances Ann Johnson, cum laude. Teresa Ann Johnson, cum laude. Ashley Marie Jones. Christine Shen Ju. Kelly Suzanne Cadenza. Jean Kang. Stephanie Nadi Kang, cum laude. Rebecca Ann Kaparski, magna cum laude. Frances Ruth Kelly, in absentia. Miriam Tracy Kennelly, cum laude. Candace T. Kita, magna cum laude. Jordan Blair Kopstein. Erin Elizabeth Gregorian. Brianna Angel Crumweedy. Allison Justine Kupsko, magna cum laude. Kelsey Ann Langell, magna cum laude. Julie Ann Miriam Lapidus. Janista Christine Leck. Adrian Claudia Lindgren, cum laude. Wendy Marie Lindsay, magna cum laude. Carly Michelle London, cum laude. Jagina Long, summa cum laude. Anna McNeil Loris. Arlen Marie Madsen Bond, summa cum laude. Jill Meredith Mahoney. Rebecca Sumner Malinik in absentia. Vivian Ileana Maltez. Hannah Elise McIlvain, cum laude. Nora Vance McIntosh. Julia Elizabeth Mebin, summa cum laude. Elizabeth Lauren Meyer, summa cum laude. Bridget Marjorie Ann Meitz, cum laude. Kathleen Therese Myers. Sarah Lynn Mkhitaryan, cum laude. Madeline Permar Miller, cum laude. Casey Elise Mitchell, cum laude. Andrea Marie Moror, cum laude. Victoria Molina Estolano. Andrea Susanna Donnelly Montes. Angelica Taryn Moore. Taya Campbell Mortvet. Janet Moda. India Christine Milady. Claire Marie Mullen, cum laude. Melissa R. Munoz. Sarah Margaret Murphy. Delaney Frankie Narducci, cum laude. Catherine E. Knights. Rebecca Freya Nelson, cum laude. Gina Michelle Newman. Jennifer Kanoilani Noborikawa, cum laude. Laura R. Nolan, magna cum laude. Asumi Ann Oguchi, cum laude. Summer Elizabeth Olson. Callie Hobbs Orm, cum laude. Stephanie Pye. Lauren Elizabeth Partain, cum laude. Julie C. Patterson. Ava Danielle Pearlstone. Claudia Peng. Brianna Costa Perlmutter, cum laude. Hannah Marion Peter. Hannah Levine Picard, summa cum laude. Dana Michelle Pinson. Catherine Marie Plow. Rebecca Taylor Potts Dupre. Rachel Leanne Putas, cum laude. Olivia Margaret Powar, cum laude. Jocelyn Noel Price, magna cum laude. Sarah Lynn Quincy, cum laude. Aylin Rowe Ramsey. Anders M. Renee. Lauren Michelle Reddig, magna cum laude. Shallon Eliza Reese. Denise Rodriguez. Dana Lauren Rome, cum laude. Madden Elizabeth Rao, magna cum laude. Alicia Ariel Nilsson Roy, magna cum laude. Sarah Devora Capel Rubenstein, cum laude. Leah Cecile Rudolph. Sarah Catherine Ruiz. Natalie Roche Sachs, cum laude. Tess Pollock Sadowski, cum laude. Brianka C. Sanders. Amelia R. Y. Sawada, cum laude. Kelsey Ayano Schmidt. Quiapi Ahimsa Scott. Leah M. Sate. Claire Elizabeth Shaw. Samantha Brielle Shelton, cum laude. Tiffany Lynn Noelani Shea. Mariana Stakina. Natalie Marie Sipos, cum laude. Catherine Marie Sklar, cum laude. Sarah Glenn Smilkstein, summa cum laude. Adelina Mariflor Solis Montufar, magna cum laude. Emily B. Stearns in absentia. Samantha Stites. Victoria Lee Sun in absentia. Sean Maya Svoboda. Laura Mackenzie Taggart Murphy. Della Connolly Taylor. Mariam Tatiana Tejeda. Claire Colette Weig Tholey. Sasha Victoria Thralekill. Erica Toney. Anne Victoria Tutel, magna cum laude. Jamie Pualani Treadway, cum laude. Clara Ann Chudy Campbell, cum laude. Victoria Catherine Tuttle, magna cum laude. Alexandra Emily Tyson, cum laude. Leanne Michelle Van Cleef. Angelica Vargas, magna cum laude. Helen Grace Vena. Claire Maping Vinson. Courtney Yuk Wan Y, magna cum laude. Hope Marley Whitney Monacle. Catherine Bay Wiley, magna cum laude. Vanessa Catherine Williams Hall, cum laude. Charla Berlinda Wilson. Catherine Copeland Womack. Catherine Noel Wong, magna cum laude. Elizabeth Louise Wolfe Willis. Nora Fuller Wright, magna cum laude. Malika Yavatkar. Kelsey Christine Yoakum. Naomi Dina Giannis, magna cum laude. Anita Shengyin Yu. Alexandra M. Zindel, cum laude.
Will the class please rise? Now you can move your tassels from the right to the left. Congratulations, class of 2011. Graduates of the class of 2011, you are ready to become the confident, courageous, and hopeful risk takers in life after Scripps, because that's what you already are. You chose to come to an intense, academically demanding women's college, and in your time here, we challenged you, and you challenged us. Scripps College is an intentional environment, one designed to provide you with the challenges you needed to develop intellectually and personally, and to do so with the support of faculty, staff, and fellow students. The bubble of college life in Claremont is clearly different from the real world. Yet, the challenges that many of you met are not all that different from what you will meet in life after Scripps. You arrived here to new schedules and deadlines, a new community with new friends to make, new responsibilities to yourself and to others. And here you gained a new understanding of yourself and thus formulated new expectations for your future. Here you found your voice and you exercised it. Facing the fear some of you felt in taking that risk, the risk of standing up for your beliefs, educating others about who you are and the value of your perspective, not sitting in the back of the class, allowing the feeling of being silenced to overwhelm you. That gives you the confidence you need to face your fears in the future, and more important, to be yourself. Challenged yet supported, we expected you to take risks, to find your passion, and to chart your course to make a difference beyond Scripps College. And while you sought to form an inclusive environment, you celebrated the individuality of each and every member of the community. And I'll paraphrase the late Theodore Geisel, better known as Dr. Seuss. As a Scripps graduate, why should you fit in when you were born to stand out? Today, you enter a new level of privilege in the United States by virtue of the degree you have earned. In this country, a college education is associated with class and economic privilege. What will you do with that privilege? How will you use that privilege? How will you use that privilege to contribute to the betterment of your community and the world? Shakespeare said, he has a lot to say. Shakespeare said, "We know what we are, but not what we may be." Your life will continue to be a journey of self-discovery. Have the confidence and courage to be yourself, to be authentic, and to rely on your values as you make choices now and in the future. Your time at Scripps has set you on that course. My charge to you is to let your inner compass guide you. And I know that each of you will then find your path to your definition of success. We look forward to celebrating your future successes with you on your many returns to campus. Yes. I did charge you yesterday with keeping up that 100% contribution level, right? Regardless, we know we're going to see you a lot on campus, right? And within the alumni community, and just in case you didn't realize this, there is actually a first-year reunion. Did you know that? Okay, yes, no? Well, now you all know it, okay? April 27th to 29th, 2012, okay? I hope to see many of you there. But most of all, I want you to know it's been my great pride and joy to be with you. at least for 2 years of your time at Scripps, and I look forward to many, many more years with you and to your successes. Congratulations.